Marfoogle News going live in 3, 2. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. We've got some really interesting stuff to talk about today, including, of course, just record-breaking stories that's just absolutely nuts. Okay, so first of all, we have the president releasing FBI records on the MLK files, despite the family saying, no, we don't want these out. Now, the reason why a lot of people are kind of raising their eyebrows is, why do the family not want this out? Of course, this is files based on hundreds of hours. Again, more than 240,000 pages of records had been under a court-imposed seal since 1977 on the intelligence and the monitoring of MLK. In a lengthy statement released Monday, King's two living children, Martin III, 67, and Bernice, 62, said that their father's assassination has been captivating public curiosity for decades, but the pair emphasized the personal nature of the matter, urging that the files must be viewed within their full historical context. When you say they need context, usually there's something there in the skeletons in the closets that they do not want out. And they're saying, hey, if you just look at this like this, it's going to make us look really bad. But you need the full historical context. Like, it makes me think that there's something where he did something bad, but maybe it was because he was being asked to by the government, or somebody was intervening, or he had to do something bad to get to something good, or at least that's their belief of it. And they're saying, if you just look at him doing something bad without the person that came and told him to do something for the greater good, then you would have a very horrible situation. Now, files like this, again, it's been a long time. But things like this getting released in the wrong time, or in the right time in some people's eyes, could cause absolute chaos. So it is something that everybody is going to have an opinion on. It is something that is incredibly a huge deal, because this is history. This is something that, everybody knows about. Everybody in the United States, absolutely, this is burnt into their brain. All right, and then before we move on, I do want to make sure you guys check out marfooglenews.com/EMP. Again, you make sure to use the code MARF. This will save $50 off per device. And this is not only a device that can protect you against EMP, but it can also protect you against CME. You can put these on your generators, cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, and homes to protect you. They make now a new Starlink version, modem versions, and of course your car version is probably one of the most important. In less than 10 minutes, you are protected. And again, that will protect you against also a Carrington-level event from the sun. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP and make sure to use the code MARF. All right, let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
And I apologize, you guys. We had a lot of technical difficulties getting on live, so today's show is a little bit late, and I do not have the ability to... I have to do everything manually, so I appreciate your patience today. All right, so let's get into the next piece here. So Putin has now put what at all of his ports, and what is he looking for?
Well, yeah, they've been looking for explosive devices on the ship. So they've had a recent series of explosions. I think one was less than a month ago. It was in Libya, but it was a vessel that had previously moored at the Russian Baltic seaport of Ust-Luga, at a terminal near the Black Sea port of Novorossiysk, and the cause of the explosion is still unknown. And ever since that one and some of the other explosions prior to it, everybody has started searching their ship holes, and even hiring divers and drones to go search the ship holes when they leave Russia. So the FSB is now imposing strict vetting of any foreign ship that is coming in. They want to check those ships on their way in. Mostly these ships that are coming in is for oil. And a lot of people think that, Ukraine could be responsible for trying to sabotage some of the oil. And that one ship that did have, the last one I spoke of, I believe it was an oil tanker, and it made quite a mess, and it had an explosion at a port, but it was after it had left Russia. So the question is, are they trying to potentially sabotage these ships? And Russia is looking now to investigate more thoroughly and vet each and every ship that enters its port.
Yeah, and this is something where you're seeing it kind of all of a sudden change behind the scenes. You don't know what the actual reasoning is for it. You know, when they're putting FSB, or essentially the CIA of Russia, to watch stuff like this, they're expecting something big. Now, at the same time, there are now major indications nuclear bombs are back at USAF Air Base in England. And the reason they're saying this is because of the actual signals by, again, I'll read this because I have never been in the Air Force, so I'm not familiar with this stuff. But again, it's about coins, it's about patches, it's about the actual brigades. And the U.S. Air Force Challenge coin provides us with our best indication so far that the United States has brought nuclear bombs back on the United Kingdom after 2 decades. As we have written about in the past, the move was long expected with construction works at RAF Lakenheath. And it says in England, already providing conclusive evidence that this was a planned. More recently, the transatlantic flights by the U.S. Air Force transport aircraft have also provided further indications of the movement of the bombs themselves to the United Kingdom. So flight tracking folks have been actually watching stuff as well. Challenge coins, also known as round metal objects, or RMOs, because they have so much personality in the naming department, are a major part of military aviation culture and tradition, as you can read about here. Typically, these coins include features such as unit designation, colors, mascot, nickname, mottos, and slogans, symbology, and references to its history and lore. The coin in question is from the 493rd Fighter Generation Squadron, or FGS, which is part of Lakenheath's 48th Fighter Wing, and is activated on June 9th, 2023. Tony Osborne, European Defense Editor of Aviation, photographed an example of the 493rd FGS Challenge coin at Royal International Air Tattoo Air Show that took place over the weekend at RAF Fairford in England. On one side, the coin shows the Grim Reaper mascot of the 493rd Fighter Squadron with its motto, "Prepare to meet thy maker," which, okay, in that department, they have some pretty badass sayings. In the center of the coin is the telltale shape of the B-61 nuclear gravity bomb. The entire shape of the coin makes it very explicit one key aspect of the 493rd FGS mission, with a nuclear explosion and a mushroom cloud. The reverse of the coin provides a full color depiction of the same explosion. So again, they're essentially saying that they not only have that, they have the actual movement of craft, and they have the actual designations and the right people there. So they're saying that they have now nukes moved back onto this England base. Anytime you have that, again, there are certain rules, especially if it's a base outside of the United States, of how they keep these nuclear weapons. It's a whole big reason why, you know, in Greenland, why we want Greenland. We want just not to put monitoring and detection in Greenland. We want to be able to actually intercept, which we cannot do under current treaties, or I forget, they don't call it a treaty. They called it an agreement or a pact or an act of something of 2015 or 2017. So again, there's reasons why we want absolute control over a place where we have our nukes, because otherwise they are stored to the side. It is a big deal to even have them put onto a plane. So with this being said, why do they have these nukes there? Dex, do you have any opinions why in England? I mean, obviously we've been watching all of Europe. They're essentially preparing for something massive. People say, oh, Putin will never nuke anybody. There's a lot of people in the comments that say, yeah, he's not trying to nuke. Nobody's trying to nuke. Well, it certainly looks like, what if they end up first striking Russia? What if we don't know what is really going on?
Well, out of the obvious first locations have been thought of to be those areas near Kaliningrad, Estonia, Latvia, etc. But when you think about one of their arch enemies is absolutely the UK, and they have had a constant back and forth with the UK. They've put more threats towards the UK than any other country. So it makes sense that when you think about a Russia escalation into Europe, how the UK will play into that, and for us to put nukes there. And I also think that the relationship we have with the UK is a little different than with our nukes than it is with, say, the NATO nukes, which are totally different. NATO nukes are controlled by NATO, or in control of by NATO. and have to adhere to different rules. Where I wonder if we have a little bit more leeway working directly with the UK as a close ally with our military, and how those nukes are handled. But I still would think they're mostly airborne.
Unfortunately, something big seems to be on the move right now, and everything, the world is shifting right now. I mean, if you follow us on our next show, we're going to talk about what the president has just done. He has done pretty much the unthinkable. He has posted videos of the previous couple presidents in trouble. He has posted essentially memes, but these aren't just memes. These are pictures of people in power getting arrested. So we'll talk about that. He is talking about, 2 presidents back essentially getting taken down. There's information that was just released that says that there might have been one of the worst plots in history, and it's all happening right now. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. If you're watching the replay, all you have to do is click here. If you're in chat, just stay there. You'll be ported over. We'll see you in just a moment. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.